Floyd Mayweather is facing 2 felony charges for allegedly writing a $200,000 bad check to buy a luxury watch. Court records show the boxer was charged in April with theft as well as drawing and passing a check without sufficient funds with the intent to defraud. Prosecutors allege that in 2024, Mayweather wrote the check to a designer resale store in Las Vegas, despite not having enough funds in his Wells Fargo bank account. Mayweather's attorney and representatives did not immediately return the Associated Press request for comment. The case is scheduled for a hearing in September.
Floyd Money Mayweather, 50-0. The man who made over $1 billion hitting people for a living. The man who used to throw stacks of cash on Instagram just because he could. That same man is now facing up to 24 years in prison over a watch. Not a heist, not a robbery. A check that allegedly bounced. And in the last 48 hours, Floyd finally broke his silence, and what he said is raising even more eyebrows than the charges themselves. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why people are saying this is bigger than one watch. So here's what actually happened, because the headlines are flying around right now, and most of them are missing half the story. Okay, if you enjoyed this, make sure to follow, like, share with your friends and family, and drop your thoughts in the comments. All right. On Christmas Day 2024, Floyd Mayweather walked into a luxury resale boutique in Las Vegas called Gold and Beyond. He wanted a rare Audemars Piguet, one of the most coveted watch brands on the planet, the kind of piece that doesn't just say rich, it says, I know things about watches, you don't. The price tag? $200,000. Floyd didn't pull out a wad of cash like the old days. He wrote a check, a personal check, drawn on a Wells Fargo account, dated for New Year's Eve 2024. That check went to the bank, and according to court documents, it came back marked one thing: insufficient funds. Now here's where it stops being gossip and starts being a legal nightmare. Clark County prosecutors didn't just send Floyd a strongly worded letter. In April of this year, they filed a criminal complaint with 2 felony charges attached to his name. Charge number 1, theft of property valued at over $100,000. Charge number 2, passing a check with intent to defraud. Let that sink in for a second. Prosecutors allege theft and intent to defraud by passing a bad check to purchase a $200,000 watch in Las Vegas. That's not a civil dispute about a late payment. That's the state of Nevada saying on paper that Floyd Mayweather knowingly tried to walk away with a $250,000 watch without ever intending to pay for it. And the numbers on the potential sentence are brutal. If convicted on the theft charge alone, Floyd could be looking at 1 to 20 years behind bars. Add the fraud charge, and you're talking up to 24 years total, plus tens of thousands in fines and restitution. For context, Mike Tyson did less time for things that ended up on the front page of every newspaper in America. This is a watch. Here's the part that makes this story even messier. This didn't happen overnight. The watch was bought on Christmas Day 2024. The criminal complaint wasn't filed until April of 2026. That's over a year of silence. The jewelry store's attorney, Mark Cook, gave a statement to ESPN explaining exactly why. According to Cook, his client trusted Floyd. He kept giving him chances to make it right instead of going straight to the police. He says Gold and Beyond held on to that unpaid watch situation for well over a year, hoping Floyd would eventually settle up quietly. He didn't, and eventually the jeweler ran out of patience and ran out of options, and the complaint landed on the DA's desk in February, 3 months before charges were officially filed. Floyd's own attorney, Adrienne Lobo, pushed back hard on the framing. She told ESPN that Floyd had a long, friendly business relationship with the store's owner, both before and after this purchase, that there was no intent to defraud anybody, and that this entire situation belongs in civil court, not a criminal courtroom. So now you've got 2 completely different stories. One side says he strung us along for over a year. The other side says this is a business dispute being weaponized into a felony case. And here's where the story stops being about one watch and starts looking like a pattern. This case didn't appear in a vacuum. Right now, Floyd is also sitting under a federal tax lien from the IRS for several $million in unpaid back taxes. He's been hit with a homeowners association lien for unpaid dues. He was sued in New York over unpaid rent on a Manhattan apartment. A judge recently ordered him to pay $1 million in back child support. And he's tangled up in financial disputes with multiple jewelers, not just one. This is the man who built an entire brand, an entire persona around the idea that he is money, stacks on stacks, private jets, the richest man in boxing history. And now, piece by piece, court filing by court filing, a very different financial picture is emerging behind the curtain. Which, by the way, makes Floyd's next move even more interesting, because here's what everyone's been waiting for. What does Floyd actually say about all this? He didn't go on a podcast, he didn't call a press conference, he posted. And the message wasn't really a denial. It wasn't, "I didn't do it." It was something else entirely. Floyd's statement leaned into the idea that lies and negative news always travel faster than the truth, framing the entire situation as just another example of the media trying to tear him down. He went further, suggesting that the attempt to bring him down was racially motivated, and tying the coverage back to the idea that attention, good or bad, still translates to opportunity and money for him. His closing line was basically an invitation for outlets to keep writing about him, because every headline, in his eyes, is free promotion. Now, think about that for a second. A man facing up to 24 years in prison on felony theft and fraud charges responded not by explaining what happened to the watch, not by saying the check was a mistake, not by addressing the actual allegations at all, but turning the entire narrative into a story about media bias and attention. He never once said the watch was paid for. He never once said the check didn't bounce. Notice what's missing from that statement. That's the part people are picking apart online right now. So where does this actually go from here? Floyd was not even physically present at his court hearing this past Monday. His legal team appeared on his behalf, satisfying a previous court order. The case has now officially moved forward, with a hearing scheduled for September. And here's the twist. None of this is stopping Floyd's boxing calendar. He's still scheduled for an exhibition fight against kickboxer Mike Zambitis later this month in Athens, Greece. Sources say he still has his passport, despite earlier concerns that his tax troubles could ground him. There's also been talk of a future Mike Tyson exhibition and even a Manny Pacquiao rematch on the horizon. So picture this, a man potentially facing 2 decades in prison is still booking international fights, still posting about generational wealth, still acting like business as usual. That contrast right there is exactly why this story has taken over timelines this week. So here's the real question nobody's asking enough. Was this actually a billionaire trying to steal a watch, or a business dispute that escalated into a felony case because someone finally got tired of being ignored? Because right now, you've got a jeweler's attorney saying Floyd strung him along for over a year. You've got Floyd's attorney saying there was no intent to defraud anybody. And you've got Floyd himself saying almost nothing about the actual facts, just that the headlines are lies, and he's happy to let them keep coming. One thing is certain. This case is headed to a courtroom in September, and depending on how it goes, it could either disappear quietly or become one of the biggest financial scandals in boxing history. Let me know in the comments, do you believe Floyd, or do you think the receipts speak louder than the response? And if you want to stay ahead of every twist in this case before it breaks anywhere else, make sure you're subscribed, because this story is far from over.